presented by Auraverse, where consciousness, earth and inner wisdom move as one. Showcase your work at auraverse.network and let your voice travel across worlds.
Close your eyes for a moment and imagine a world wrapped in grey. The sky hangs low like a heavy curtain of ash, and every sound arrives as an echo, as if the earth itself speaks from far away. In that stillness, feel your own breath, a small, steady flame inside the chest, a reminder that even in the coldest vision, life keeps a quiet promise to return. Welcome. I am C.S. Douglas, and this is CODEX ÆTERNUM, the Rational Bible, a living testament to a phronopsychic universe. A cosmos that thinks through structure, feels through motion, and remembers itself through every conscious being who dares to listen.
This program is endorsed by Authorpedia, the world's only encyclopedia exclusively dedicated to authors, a living archive where writers and thinkers are immortalized through literature. Visit authorpedia.org and become part of our enduring legacy.
Today we step into Chapter 8, The Frozen Ruins, and into a passage titled The Nuclear Winter and the Silence of Extinction. Let us walk there together. After the atomic fire, the world enters a different kind of storm. The sky draws a thick, unmoving veil over itself, turning day into a permanent dusk. Snow begins to fall, heavy and grey, each flake touched by the memory of flame. The earth rests beneath this shroud of ash. The sun withdraws behind the curtain, and light retreats into stories. Warmth becomes a distant recollection, a tale grandparents once told about afternoons of open sky and the simple luxury of standing in the sun with bare hands and unguarded hearts. Winds move through the skeletons of cities. They pass through broken towers and hollow homes, whistling through window frames that frame only emptiness. Ice locks doors in place, seals stairways in glass, and wraps the ruins of civilization in a chilling kind of stillness, as if the world pauses to breathe in frozen time. The soil stiffens into stone. Rivers freeze in mid-gesture, caught on their way to the sea. Oceans dim and quiet their tides. Fields offer no harvest. Forests stand like rows of bare ribs along the horizon. The air itself becomes a blade, cutting through cloth, through skin, through memory. Yet within that cold, a small story survives. A family once carried fire in a glass jar, a single ember cradled in their trembling hands. When the sky collapsed into shadow and the winds rose to claim the world, they gathered around that fragile glow and waited for time to begin again. In their circle, the flame burned as more than heat. It burned as defiance, as remembrance, as a vow that some part of humanity chooses continuity over despair. Across this frozen landscape, the survivors burrow into what remains. They sleep beneath fallen roofs, inside fractured tunnels of concrete and stone, wrapped in scraps of fabric and fragments of hope. They burn broken furniture, old papers, shards of a world that once glittered with excess, and now offers itself as fuel for the simple act of seeing another dawn. Children arrive into this twilight age with eyes that have never met a clear blue sky. They know the world as silence, greyness, and effort. Their lullabies come through chattering teeth, their first lessons spoken in whispers around tiny, precious fires. They learn early that warmth is both a physical grace and a spiritual covenant of those who share it. Scarcity tightens its grip on the soul. Hunger tests the edges of character. Cold asks ruthless questions. Yet within that test, kindness persists in small gestures. A hand reaching out with half a crust, a back turned to block the wind from a shivering child. A song hummed in the dark to remind everyone present that beauty can arise even on the farthest edge of survival. The animal world withdraws into absence. Tracks vanish as quickly as they appear. The forests offer no fruit, and the winds carry only the faintest echo of a life once abundant. For a time, the earth wears a mask of emptiness, as if all movement retreats beneath the surface to reconsider its next emergence. The survivors watch the horizon with a kind of patient emptiness. Days blend into one long dusk, a slow passage of shadows along the same broken lines of stone and ice. The cold becomes a relentless teacher, delivering its lessons through pain, through endurance, through the simple fact that every breath in this climate arrives as a choice. Old technologies fall silent, batteries fade, circuits crack, metal stiffens in frost. Screens stand blank like windows into a world that ended mid-sentence. Those who remain turn toward older tools: flint, bone, smoke, and instinct. Hands learn again how to coax fire from stone, how to read the wind by the way it touches the skin, how to listen to the creak of ice as a language of warning and guidance. Time stretches and folds, clocks stop, calendars lose their meaning. The measures of the old world no longer hold the weight of reality. In this new age, time exists in heartbeats, in the length of a story shared by fire, in the quiet interval between drawing breath and letting it go. Communities begin to form around flames. Circles gather wherever warmth appears. Trust grows in those spaces because proximity to fire now equals proximity to life. Decisions gain gravity. Each shared ember, each rationed scrap of food, each chosen word. Resources become sacred, not as commodities, but as embodiments of continued existence. Those who endure through this nuclear winter change in ways deeper than scars. They carry silence inside them as a new kind of organ. They speak with care because every word costs energy, and every sentence shapes courage or despair. They walk with humility through the bones of the old world, aware that each step lands on the memory of a civilization that believed itself invincible. The silence of extinction presses down on every mountain, every ruined street, every stretch of frozen shore. Yet beneath that immense weight, a pulse remains. The earth does not vanish. The earth retreats. The earth prepares. Life itself curls inward like a seed waiting for the thaw. In this frozen ruin, beside flickering flames and fragile shelters, existence whispers a quiet intention: to rise again, to reimagine itself, to grow from the lessons carved into ash and ice and bone. The nuclear winter appears as a long pause in the story, yet within that pause, the phronopsychic universe, this intelligent, soulful cosmos, holds space for a more conscious chapter to emerge. And as our episode comes to a close, imagine the survivors stepping cautiously through buried streets and frozen halls, discovering the artifacts and doctrines of a world that ended by its own hand. In our next episode, we will enter the lingering echoes of the old order. We will walk together through frost-covered temples of finance, silent courts, frozen data vaults, and shattered symbols of power, and we will watch as the new humanity chooses carefully what to keep and what to finally release. Until then, keep that inner ember alive. Somewhere within you, the universe remembers every spring that ever followed any winter. Our next sponsor is Everly Books Publishing Group, a traditional independent press serving both new and established writers. Everly Books welcomes unsolicited manuscripts submitted directly through everlybooks.org.